if there's a need to change the service chief. The speak of sack or service chief, I think it's a bit of a disservice and quite disrespectful to the men and officers who served all their lives. Section 130 grants the president the right and the power to remove service chiefs for good reasons, for no reasons, for whatever he thinks is best for his own administration. So again, you look at terms of service, they've done at least minimum 2 years. It must even be 2 years. They can be there 3 months and they can be changed.
I want to say, well, that there is a whole lot of information contained in exactly what was not said. For the military, well, they have sort of handled it well by not putting out too much, although, like I said, well, some of the information not revealed were actually what indeed really bothers lots of people, were how, would some officers be facing court-martial just because they were aggrieved with some specific situations.
This is a bold step, a very bold one, and it's going to make the military to align properly with its, the procedures or the necessary steps that needs to be taken in the career progression of officers. When you allow officers to overstay, you dim the light on the head of the other ones that are behind. But this president has done something that is remarkable. And in fact, I know that the system will be quite excited.
Nigeria is bleeding again. From the dust trails of Borno to the forest of Zamfara, from the creeks of the Niger Delta to the narrow roads of the southeast, gunfire has become our national language. Every headline bleeds with tragedy. Every dawn greets another family in mourning. And in Asurok, it seems like the commander-in-chief has decided that enough is enough. On the night of October 24, 2025, President Bola Tinubu signed a document that would shake the hearts of Nigerian military command. He dissolved the old guard and announced a new one, the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Waidi Shaibu, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Vice Marshal Sunday Kelvin Aneke, the Chief of Naval Staff, Rear Admiral Abbas. 4 new commanders, 1 single mission, and Nigerians' insecurity or be consumed by it. 3 days later, on October the 27th, they sat in the State House across the table from President Bola Tinubu for their first high-stake briefing. The cameras flashed. The atmosphere was tensed. Behind those polite smiles and military salutes, one question burned. Will these be the team that finally restores Nigeria's peace? Or will they become another chapter in a book of failure? For over a decade, Nigeria has fought a war that has no end. A war without borders, without uniforms, without mercy. Boko Haram rose from the ashes of poverty in the northeast and evolved into a hydra sparing ISWAP, bandit militaries, and kidnap cartels that now roll across half the federation. In the northwest, entire communities have vanished under the weight of banditry. In the middle belt, herders and farmers trade bullets instead of harvests. In the southeast, separatist gunmen enforce sit-at-home order with fire. And in the oil-rich Niger Delta, pipelines still bleed crude, while soldiers die protecting them. For ordinary Nigerians, security has become a luxury. The question is no longer where is safe, it is who will be next. This is the war that the new service chiefs inherit. A war older than most of their strategies. A war that has swallowed billions of dollars, hundreds of officers, and the confidence of a nation. When Nigeria heard the news of the reshuffle, reaction split sharply. Some saw it as a fresh start. Others sighed, "We have seen this move before, and maybe this is a fear that the president is afraid that he was going to be removed in office." Because in Nigeria, the face changes, but the funeral remains. The president's decision wasn't random. For months, whispers had filled Abuja's corridors. Whispers of growing indiscipline, low morale, and a command structure too tired to fight. Tinubu needed a reboot. He needed loyalty, intelligence, and precision. And so he turned to men he believed could deliver both fire and reform. At the top stands the Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, now Chief of Defense Staff, battered tested strategist. From the 39th regular course of the Nigerian Defense Academy, once the Chief of Army Staff, now promoted to coordinate every branch of the military. His challenge: unite a divided command and deliver a new doctrine for modern warfare. Then comes Major General Waidi Shaibu, the new Chief of Army Staff, a man of the Armor Corps, known for field discipline and quiet intensity. He inherits the largest branch of the armed forces, but also the most overstretched, the most under-equipped, and the most burdened by allegations of corruption and fatigue. Air Vice Marshal Sunday Kelvin Aneke, the new Chief of Air Staff, brings technical expertise, trained on air mobility and tactical response, with years of operational command behind him. He faces the monumental task of giving Nigeria's Air Force the speed and precision it needs to fight a war spread across forests, mountains, and savannas. And finally, Rear Admiral Abbas, Chief of Naval Staff, an above-water warfare specialist with international training. He takes charge of protecting Nigeria's vast waterways, securing oil assets, and confronting the pirates and oil thieves who drill the nation's economy every day. These four men represent Tinubu's security gamble, a gamble to restore public trust, rebuild discipline, and redefine loyalty inside the barracks. But here is the hard truth. In Nigeria, the problem has never been about names. It is about systems that refuse to change. Every service chief walks into a different battlefield. For the army, it is the forest, Sambisa, Biringwari, Shiroro, all of these jingles that swallowed soldiers and secrets alike. For the Air Force, it is the sky, where drones are as scarce and fuel is expensive. For the Navy, it is the creeks, where oil theft funds are the very crime they are trying to stop. And for the Defense Headquarters, it is coordination, the invisible war of intelligence, bureaucracy, and politics. The real fight is not just in bushes, it is in the boardrooms of power, where procurement deals decides who lives and who dies. Every year, Nigeria spent billions of defense, yet the results remains invisible. Soldiers complain of poor rotations and outdated weapons. Airmen fly missions with limited fuel. Naval officers chase pirates with half-functional boats. This is the new reality the new chiefs must face, and fast. At the State House meetings, sources say that Tinubu's tone was firm. Gentlemen, Nigerians are watching. The excuses at these points are over. Those words carry both a warning and a promise, because for this administration, success will not be measured by press statement, but by the number of kidnappings that never happened, the number of villages that never fall. Inside the military, there is cautious optimism. Officers describe Oluyede as disciplined but approachable. They say Shaibu listens before he orders, and they call Aneke the kind man who keeps pilots in the air no matter the odds. Whether those traits can translate to real result is another matter, because out there in the red zones, the enemy does not wait for reforms. They strike every night, they move fast and press releases, and they don't care who wears which uniform. Every new service chief must fight two wars, one against the insurgents, and another within the system. The Nigerian military, for all its courage, remains a house divided. Internal rivalries, procurement politics, intelligence hoarding between services, and the ever-present ghost of who controls what. Tinubu's shake-up was also about loyalty. For months, rumors floated of factions within the armed forces, some sympathetic to old power blocks, others accused of leaking sensitive information. The new appointments, analysts say, were as much about trust as about competence. A reset meant to eliminate suspicion and restore unity under one commander-in-chief. But this also creates its own tension. Some within the ranks question whether political loyalty might overshadow professional judgment. Can a general tell the truth to power, even when power does not want to hear it? Tinubu has made it clear, this is not a democracy inside the barracks. Obedience comes first, but military history warns, blind obedience without reform is a recipe for stagnation. The old chiefs learned that lesson the hard way. Years of counterinsurgency operations without end. Thousands of troops rotated endlessly through the same battlefield. Equipment contracts delayed. Morale broken. So the question lingers, will the new service chiefs confront the system or conform to it? The battle inside the barracks may determine whether Nigerians' external wars ever end. Hope is a fragile thing in Nigeria. Every new appointment comes with press conferences, parades and promises. But on the ground, villagers still sleep in fear, trucks still burn on highways, and parents still pray their children return from school. The truth is, Nigerians are tired. Tired of recycled names. Tired of the word restructuring. Tired of military reforms that sounds the same year after year. But perhaps, just perhaps, this time it could be different. Oluyede's background in the field operations gives him perspective. Shaibu's calm reputation may restore confidence in ground troops. Aneke's air mobility strategy could finally make response time faster. And Abbas' maritime experience might help secure our oil wells. If they work together, not as separate services, but as one machine, Nigeria could start to breathe again. But if they fail, the consequences will be brutal, because this is not 2015. The people are watching more closely than ever. The opposition is waiting to weaponize every failure. And for Tinubu, those political capital is already stretched. Another wave of insecurity could erode his authority before 2027 begins. The war on insecurity is now his ultimate test. A test that will define not just his presidency, but the legacy of every man sitting around the State House table. Peace is not free. It demands courage, reform and accountability. It demands soldiers who fight not for ranks, but for reason. It demands leaders who understand that peace is not won by bullets alone, but by justice, trust and opportunity. The new service chiefs of 2025 now stands where many have stood before them, at the edge of history. If they succeed, Nigeria may finally step into a new dawn of security. If they fail, their names will simply join a long list of forgotten commanders who once promised change. The decision lies not just in their hands, but in the system they chose to build. Because the real war is not between soldiers and insurgents. It is between progress and paralysis of old habits. And for the first time in a long time, Nigerians are not just praying for peace. They are demanding it. This is not just another military reshuffle. This is the fight for Nigerian soul. Will the new service chiefs end the nightmare or repeat old mistakes? The next few months will tell.